I wish to, first of all, take the opportunity to acknowledge CTA and PIPSO for the invitation to come and give an opening address and, of course, grace the occasion with you on this three-day program. I understand that this three-day event is the second part to what is a week-long program on agribusiness, which started on Monday and which brought together key agencies working in the agriculture sector, agriculture in the private sector, and of course to promote and further enhance their linkages. So many thanks to all the participants that have put together this program and for doing so right here in Fiji. I understand that there are three overall objectives to this symposium. One is to promote the linkages between the agri-food sector and the tourism industry and to increase sustainable local sourcing. Two is to analyze successful businesses, cases, and the drivers of success. And thirdly, to identify support needed to strengthen relations between the value chain actors and the tourism industry in the Pacific. To work toward achieving these objectives, it is important to bring together the diverse group of actors that are active in the agribusiness sector, which, as many of you know, covers parts of the economy that is devoted to the production, processing, and distribution of food, and includes financial institutions that fund these activities. I am especially happy to see on the program a session that is dedicated to agri-financing, and I fervently hope that the finance institutions take note and try and offer solutions for access to finance to our farmers and diverse businesses that are involved in agribusiness. Access to finance, as we are all aware, is a common challenge to many Pacific businesses, especially micro and SMEs, and further compounded by those in the agriculture sector. We are all familiar of the facts. Our population in the Pacific is expected to rise, and particularly so in the Melanesian countries. And that means that the need to feed everyone will increase, and thus putting pressure on communities, businesses, and governments to ensure food production is concerted and at the same time not drastically having negative impacts on our environment. How can we actively participate in this to supply the markets, earn incomes, and do so in sustainable ways? On the other hand, we have increasing tourist arrivals and matching food needs. A bulk of foods and food produce catering for this market is important. And our cuisine, unique in their own ways, do not feature prominently in the hotel menus. How can we contribute these elements to promote local produce use and fusion of our foods and cuisines for visitors and locals alike? How can we promote culinary tourism using local produce and local products? These could be some of the questions we ask ourselves as we share over the next 3 days. Agribusiness tourism, linkages are perhaps one of the most promising avenues for diversification and growth and trade growth for the agriculture sector in the Pacific. Integrating these two economic activities presents opportunities for stronger collaboration around the agribusiness development in niche markets in support of local agri-food sector and small-scale farmers while reducing the import bill of Pacific Island economies, as I had alluded to earlier. Building upon previous work of the conference organizers such as SPC, CTA, and PIPSO, and partners in the region and in the Caribbean, this conference is being organized to exchange experience on successes, demonstrating the potential of agritourism markets, particularly about strengthening linkages between national and regional value chain actors within the tourism industry. It is a wonderful opportunity to have a delegation from the Caribbean and the Indian Ocean attending this event and to share their experiences. I urge you all to make the most of this opportunity and explore what synergies are there between the two sectors in our two regions, which, whilst far apart, share many characteristics and challenges, which only we in the islands are all too familiar with and can really comprehend and appreciate. As the representative of the Fijian government in the agriculture sector, I for one am thrilled that this event is taking place in Fiji. Denarau and Nadi are well-known destinations for tourism, and there are also fairly strong links to the local agriculture sector and markets. My ministry's vision is to influence the market forces through a vibrant, sustainable agriculture activity that reduces poverty, reduces the risk of food insecurity, and increases the contribution to our GDP. In endeavoring to do this, the ministry has vowed to excel in the provision of customer-focused and market-driven services in the agriculture sector, meaning the services to you. In February this year, I launched the Ministry of Agriculture Corporate Plan, which share the national strategic priority, goals, and key development targets that are set by government for this sector, which we know plays a vital role in Fiji's economy as it touches on the very lives of our rural and maritime people who are often regarded as poor and marginalized. Additional to this, in August last year, we also launched, with the assistance of the FAO, the Fiji 2020 Agriculture Sector Policy Agenda. And if you have been following the media in Fiji lately, I was with the Honorable Prime Minister in the last 2 days, showing him what we have in existence and the plans that we have, and most importantly, the challenges that are there in the sector. And hopefully, we will get some allocation when it comes to financing so that we can contribute more to GDP and, most importantly, impact on the livelihoods of our rural people. The World Bank Poverty Report clearly highlights that the incidence of poverty is high in rural Fiji, high amongst rural women, and high amongst rural youths. And their livelihood is agriculture. But what is important in agriculture, I think, at this stage, the linkage between agriculture and tourism is cuisine. And I'm thankful that this is taking place in Fiji. The plan also brings into perspective the Fiji 2020 agriculture sector policy, which I've just stated, which concentrates on few areas: the building a modern and organized agriculture in Fiji, develop an integrated infrastructure support system for agriculture, improve delivery of agriculture support services, enhance capabilities to generate fund and secure investment through foreign investment, public-private partnership, and other innovative business arrangements, for example, cluster developments, and finally, improve project implementation and policy formulation. I cannot speak for the tourism sector and their priorities, but what common aspirations we share is exactly what you are meeting here to discuss. And I, for one, will welcome what decisions and or arrangements that will be determined come Friday. Many of us will have a tendency to focus internally and try to address agribusiness aspects at the local and national levels. And this is understandable, but at the same time, I think as Pacific islands and economies that are trying to be more sustainable and grow our economies, there is a great potential to collaborate and partner up in businesses inter-islands. We share the surrounding Pacific Ocean, and our lands produce some of the best produce around: taro, cassava, breadfruits, cocoa, coffee, vanilla, to name a few. And of course, the ever-versatile coconuts. How can we explore and utilize opportunities to leverage on the shared natural resources and expertise and other resources that is available to us, whether it be in the agricultural development, tourism aspects, cultural and creative industries, and so forth. We have wonderful resources in the form of agencies such as SPC, PIPSO, CTA, and others, and I take this opportunity to again thank the organizers for this conference. I urge you, whether you are a government representative, civil society, or private sector, that you make the most of these 3 days and network, and more importantly, articulate your needs to the key organizations that are here, who are charged with advancing agriculture, tourism, and the private sector interests in our region. Before I end, I wish to invite you all as you deliberate in the next few days, that you consider the competitiveness or innovation, the education and training, research, regional and international engagement as some key elements or fields of action that would be required. And that is on how do we improve the incentives for agribusiness and researchers to work together? How do we encourage and advocate the agricultural appreciation to our children and young adults? How can we articulate innovative priorities and support them with appropriate funding and resources? And how can we connect beyond our borders to neighboring islands to develop agribusiness and agritourism? I wish you all the very best in your deliberations. I urge you all not only to identify areas in which we can all work together to enhance and strengthen agribusiness and agritourism, but identify ways and resource opportunities to support this work and truly make it happen. It is only in doing that reaping the results and rewards can we then claim that we have had a very successful gathering here. Winawalebu, Fafetai, and I thank you for your attention.